Hello guys, welcome to Storytimes. Thanks for joining us. Today we've got a brand new story to share with you. Support the channel by liking, commenting, and subscribing. I promise, even more interesting stories. My fiancée said she needed time to think and asked for a week alone. I didn't argue. I gave her space. 3 days later, her friend accidentally posted a video of them partying in Vegas with her ex. I didn't call. I didn't text. I just canceled the wedding, blocked her, and sold her wedding dress online. When she came home screaming, "Where's my $7,000 dress?" I smiled and said, "I never thought I'd be posting here, but recent events have left me with a story I need to get off my chest." Buckle up, it's a wild ride. My fiancée Emma and I have been together for 4 years. We met during our final year of college, moved in together after graduation, and got engaged last Christmas. The wedding was scheduled for next month, June 15th. Everything was planned, deposits paid, invitations sent. I thought we were happy. I really did. Then, about 2 weeks ago, Emma started acting distant. She was on her phone constantly, pulling away when I'd walk into the room, staying late at work. Classic signs, right? But I'm not the jealous type, and I trusted her completely. When she finally approached me last Wednesday with tears in her eyes, saying she needed time to think and asked for a week alone, I was concerned but supportive. "I just need some space to clear my head," she said. "Wedding jitters, cold feet, I don't know. Can you stay with your brother for a week?" Of course I said yes. I didn't argue. I didn't pressure her. I packed a bag, told her I loved her, and said to call me when she was ready to talk. My brother Jake was cool about letting me crash at his place, though he was suspicious from the start. "Dude, this seems weird," he said that night over beers. "You're sure she's not up to something?" I defended her. She's stressed. The wedding planning, her promotion at work, her mom's health issues, it's a lot. She just needs a breather. Jake shrugged but dropped it. The next few days were rough. I threw myself into work, hit the gym hard, and tried not to obsessively check my phone. I didn't text her. I didn't call. I was giving her the space she asked for. Then came Saturday night. I was scrolling through Instagram when I saw it, a story posted by Megan, Emma's best friend. It was a quick video, barely 10 seconds, a crowded nightclub, flashing lights, and in the center of the frame, Emma grinding against some guy at XS nightclub in Las Vegas. The location tag was right there, Las Vegas, Nevada. The caption read, "What happens in Vegas? Dancer emoji, champagne bottle emoji." My stomach dropped. I watched it again. There was no mistaking her. I'd know that laugh, that birthmark on her shoulder, anywhere. And the guy she was dancing with? I zoomed in as much as I could. Alex, her ex-boyfriend from before we met. The just friend's ex she'd assured me was nothing to worry about. The story disappeared quickly, probably deleted when Megan realized her mistake, but not before I took screenshots. I sat there, staring at my phone, feeling like someone had punched me in the gut. She wasn't thinking at home. She was partying in Vegas with her ex. Jake found me on the couch, still staring at the screenshots. "What happened?" he asked. When I showed him, he exploded. "That lying. You need to call her right now, and—" "No," I said, suddenly feeling eerily calm. "No, I'm not doing that." "What do you mean you're not doing that?" "She's in Vegas with her ex exactly. And she told me she needed time to think. So I'm going to let her have that time. And I'm going to use it too." I spent that night making plans. First, I logged into our joint wedding planning account and checked our vendor contracts. We'd split the costs 50-50, insisting on paying equally despite her parents' offer to cover everything. I went through and systematically began the cancellation process: venue, caterer, photographer, DJ, florist. Most had no refund policies this close to the date, but I didn't care about the money. I just wanted out. The dress was another matter. Emma had fallen in love with a designer gown that cost $7,000. She'd insisted on buying it herself, my one big splurge, and had been making payments on it for months. The final payment had gone through 2 weeks ago, and it was hanging in our spare bedroom closet, wrapped in protective plastic. I carefully took it out and examined it. It was beautiful, intricate beadwork, delicate lace, the kind of dress little girls dream about. For a moment, I felt a pang of sadness imagining her walking down the aisle toward me in it. Then I remembered the video of her grinding on her ex in Vegas, and the sadness turned to something colder. I took clear, well-lit photos of the dress from every angle, noting the designer, style number, and size. Then I carefully packaged it back up. By 2 a.m., I had listings ready for several online marketplaces and bridal resale sites. Sunday morning, I went to our apartment while I knew she'd still be in Vegas. I packed all my essential belongings, clothes, personal items, important documents, the few pieces of furniture that were solely mine. I left my key on the counter. As I was loading the last box into my car, our neighbor Mrs. Chen saw me. Moving day already? I thought the wedding wasn't until next month? She asked, confusion evident. Change of plans, I said simply. Oh, Emma didn't mention anything when I saw her leaving with that suitcase on Thursday. Said she was going to visit her sick mother. I just nodded and thanked her for being a good neighbor. By Sunday evening, the dress had sold for $5,200 to a bride-to-be in desperate need of a last-minute gown after a boutique disaster. She was thrilled with the discount on a practically new designer dress. I arranged for it to be shipped overnight. On Monday, I went to work as usual, ignored several confused texts from mutual friends who'd heard rumors about the wedding being off, and focused on setting up my new life. I found a short-term rental apartment, scheduled movers for the rest of my things, and consulted with a lawyer friend about untangling our finances. Emma and I weren't just engaged, we'd built a life together. Joint bank account, shared lease, intertwined friend groups. It was going to be messy, but I was determined to cut all ties. Tuesday morning, I got an email from our honeymoon resort in Bali, confirming the cancellation. I'd paid for most of that as my wedding gift to her. Another loss I'd have to absorb. By Tuesday afternoon, the responses from our vendors had started rolling in. Cancellation confirmed, deposits forfeited. I forwarded all the confirmation emails to a special folder, just in case. I also drafted a short, factual message to our friends and family, explaining that the wedding was off. I didn't give details. I didn't throw Emma under the bus. I simply stated that we had ended our relationship and requested privacy during this difficult time. I scheduled it to send the following day. Then on Tuesday evening, my phone exploded with notifications. Emma was calling, and texting, and calling again. Emma, why is the venue saying our wedding is canceled? Emma, pick up your phone. Emma, what the hell is going on? I ignored them all. Blocked her number. Blocked her on all social media. Then the calls started coming from her friends, her sister, even her mother. I blocked them too. Jake fielded a few calls, simply saying, he knows everything. Leave him alone. Wednesday morning, exactly 1 week after Emma had asked for time to think, I woke up to pounding on my brother's door at 7 a.m. Jake answered, and I heard Emma's voice, shrill and frantic. Where is he? I know he's here. I need to talk to him right now. I walked into the living room, dressed for work in a suit and tie, calmly sipping my coffee. Emma looked terrible, makeup smeared, hair a mess, still wearing what looked like yesterday's clothes. What the hell do you think you're doing? She screamed, pushing past Jake. Why did you cancel our wedding? Why aren't you answering my calls? What is wrong with you? I took another sip of coffee. I thought you needed time to think. I was giving you space. By canceling our wedding? Are you insane? No, just observant. How was Vegas? Megan's Instagram stories are always so entertaining. Her face went white, then red. Then she started crying, those big, heaving sobs that used to make me do anything to comfort her. Now I just watched, feeling nothing. It's not what you think, she finally managed between sobs. It was just a girl's trip that turned into, save it. I cut her off. I saw the video. I saw Alex. I saw enough. It was nothing, she insisted. A stupid mistake. I was confused and stressed, and you lied to me, I finished for her. You said you needed time alone to think. Instead, you flew to Vegas to party with your ex. The problem isn't that you went to Vegas or that you danced with your ex. The problem is that you lied about it. You could have just told me the truth. She collapsed onto Jake's couch, mascara running down her cheeks. I made a mistake. People make mistakes. You can't just throw away 4 years over one weekend. You threw it away, not me. I just recognized it for what it was. She stared at me, suddenly looking suspicious. Wait, where are my things? Mrs. Chun said she saw you moving stuff out. I moved my things out. Your stuff is still at the apartment. And the wedding dress? I went to get it this morning, and it's gone. I smiled for the first time. Sold it. Her jaw dropped. You what? I sold your wedding dress. Online. Got $5,200 for it. She jumped to her feet, face contorted with rage. You had no right. That was my dress. I spent $7,000 on that dress. Consider it the price of your Vegas vacation. Seems fair. You got a fun weekend with your ex, and another bride got a beautiful dress at a discount. Everyone wins. You can't do this. That's theft. I'm calling the police. Jake, who had been silently watching from the doorway, finally spoke up. I wouldn't do that if I were you, Emma. The dress was paid for with joint funds, right? For a wedding that's now canceled because you cheated? Good luck with that police report. I didn't cheat. She screamed, but her eyes told a different story. Maybe not physically, I said, but you lied. You betrayed my trust. You chose a weekend of fun over our relationship. That's enough for me. She crumpled back onto the couch, the fight draining out of her. So that's it. For years together, and you won't even talk about it? No second chances? No couples therapy? I checked my watch and picked up my briefcase. I need to get to work. I've emailed you the cancellation confirmations from all the vendors. Your portion of the lost deposits comes to about $8,600. I don't expect to be reimbursed, but I've documented everything for my records. Where's my dress money? She demanded, switching tactics. If you sold my dress, I want that money. I shrugged. It went to pay for my apartment's security deposit and first month's rent. Consider us even. Even? How is this even? I walked to the door, then turned back for one last look at the woman I'd thought I'd spend my life with. Where's my $7,000 dress? You ask? Well, just like your wedding vows would have been, it's gone. And just like your time to think excuse, the money from it was a lie too. It's not about the dress or the money, Emma. It's about respect and honesty, two things I now realize you never had for me. I walked out, closing the door on her screams and sobs. Jake texted me 10 minutes later to say she'd finally left, but not before threatening legal action, begging for another chance, and ultimately destroying a vase in a fit of rage. That was 3 weeks ago. The legal threats never materialized, probably because she knew she didn't have a case, and possibly because her own actions wouldn't hold up well under scrutiny. I've heard through mutual friends that she's telling everyone I'm the villain, the heartless jerk who sold her dream dress and canceled the wedding without warning. Some believe her, some don't. I find I don't much care either way. The hardest part wasn't losing Emma. In retrospect, I think we'd been growing apart for months, maybe years. The hardest part was losing the future I'd imagined for us, the home we'd planned to buy, the children we'd talked about having, the life that now will never exist. I've moved into my new apartment, started therapy, reconnected with friends I'd neglected. My brother Jake has been my rock through all of this, offering both a shoulder to cry on and a swift kick when I need it. Last weekend, he convinced me to go out to a local bar, my first real social outing since everything imploded. I didn't meet anyone, didn't want to, but I did laugh for the first time in weeks. It's a start. Yesterday, I got a package in the mail. It was everything I'd ever given Emma. Photos, gifts, mementos from our relationship, along with a 10-page handwritten letter begging for forgiveness. I haven't read it beyond the first paragraph. Maybe someday I will. For now, the package is sitting in my storage closet, gathering dust along with that imagined future. So that's my story. The $7,000 lesson. Was I too harsh? Maybe. Could we have worked through it? Perhaps. But when I think about spending my life with someone, I want it to be with someone who respects me enough to tell me the truth, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. I don't regret selling the dress. I don't regret canceling the wedding. I don't even regret the 4 years I spent with Emma. What I regret is that it took me so long to realize my own worth, to understand that I deserve honesty, respect, and love that doesn't come with conditions or exceptions. If you've made it this far, thanks for reading. And if you're facing something similar, remember, it's better to be alone than to be with someone who treats your relationship as optional. TL, fiancé asked for time to think, but went to Vegas with her ex instead. I canceled the wedding, sold her dress, and used the money to start my new life. When she demanded to know where her $7,000 dress was, I told her it was gone, just like my trust in her. Update, 2 days later, thanks for all the support and comments. For those wondering, yes, I'm doing better each day. A few updates. 1. Emma's parents called me yesterday. Turns out she told them I overreacted to a simple girl's trip and omitted the part about her ex being there. When I explained and offered to show them the screenshots, her father actually apologized to me, said he'd raised her better than that. That was unexpected. 2. Alex, the ex, reached out through a mutual friend. Claims he had no idea we were still together. Emma told him we'd broken up weeks ago, and she was healing in Vegas. Not sure if I believe him. but it actually makes a twisted kind of sense. 3. Several people asked what happened to the wedding rings. Mine was a simple band we hadn't picked up yet. Hers was her grandmother's diamond reset and a new band. She has it. It was a family heirloom, and despite everything, I wouldn't keep that from her. 4. Legal update. I consulted with another lawyer, one specializing in family law. He confirmed that in our state, the engagement ring would be considered a conditional gift that she would normally have to return since she's the one who effectively ended the engagement. However, since it was a family heirloom reset, it gets complicated. As for the dress, since we merged finances and both contributed to wedding expenses, and since I can prove she was dishonest about her time to think, he thinks I'm in the clear. Not worth the legal fees on either side to pursue it. 5. A few people suggested I donate the dress money to charity instead of using it for my apartment. While that's a nice thought, I'm not a wealthy person. The financial hit from the canceled wedding was significant, and I needed that money to rebuild my life. Sometimes self-care has to come first. Moving forward, I'm focusing on healing. I've started journaling, picked up rock climbing, something I'd always wanted to try but Emma dismissed as too dangerous, and adopted a shelter dog, a 3-legged pit bull mix named Champion, who's currently snoring on my couch. Life isn't perfect, but it's getting better one day at a time. Final update, 2 weeks later. This will be my last update on this situation, as I'm ready to close this chapter of my life. A few final developments. 1. I ran into Megan, Emma's friend who posted the Vegas video, at the grocery store last week. She apologized profusely and revealed that the Vegas trip had been planned for weeks. It wasn't spontaneous at all. Emma had been talking about reconnecting with Alex for months, apparently. Megan said she'd distanced herself from Emma since then, calling the whole situation toxic and manipulative. 2. Emma showed up at my workplace yesterday. Security had to escort her out. She was crying, causing a scene, the whole 9 yards. My boss was surprisingly understanding, but I'm still embarrassed. She's now officially blocked on my work phone and email, and security has her photo. 3. I've decided to take the honeymoon trip anyway. Solo travel to Bali. The tickets were non-refundable, and I figure I deserve some healing time on a beach. My therapist thinks it's a great idea. 4. For those wondering about closure, Emma's letter, which I finally read, contained the typical mix of apologies, excuses, and blame shifting you might expect. The most revealing part was when she wrote, "I just needed to be sure you were the one before committing forever." I guess she got her answer, and so did I. 5. I've moved most of my things into a new apartment across town. Fresh start, new neighborhood. Champion loves the dog park nearby, and I've met some cool neighbors who know nothing about my almost wedding disaster. Life moves on. Sometimes the best revenge isn't selling a dress or canceling a wedding. It's rebuilding your life to be better than it was before. For months ago, I thought I'd lost everything. Now I realize I've gained something invaluable, self-respect, and the knowledge that I deserve better. Thanks for coming along on this journey with me. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that sometimes the family you choose, including random supportive internet strangers, can be more valuable than the relationships you thought would last forever. Signing off for good now. Champion and I have a hiking trail to explore. Final TL, DR, ex-fiancé tried various tactics to get me back. I held firm, adopted a 3-legged dog, and am taking myself to Bali. Sometimes losing someone who doesn't value you is the best thing that can happen.